What's good, J Life? This right here is beautiful Killer Cali, California. You already know, home of the gangbanging, land and birthplace of gangbanging. With so many different, documented gang members and gangs within this region. You get a lot of unique names to some of these barrios. But one of the things that often I get told is that, why do, these, gangs all use, terms like, locos or diablos or, stuff like that, going into the wickedness or, making it sound crazy or whatever. Is there any gangs that have unique names to them where they don't go down that route? And yes, actually, there is several. It's not always just about, the gangs being branded after, names like devils or crazies or whatever. You do get some names that often people are like, well, why is that neighborhood called that? Or, people trip out. And we'll be covering some of those neighborhoods, on this one right here.
Street raised, I was brought up with a G state. Peep game, those who didn't catch one to your brain. Stay in your lane, never wolfed it, boy, I never fake. Watch them break, watch them fall, still I remain. Never change, never try to come and rearrange. Never hate, never tripping on somebody's plate. That shit is lame, leave that type of shit for the dames. The streets don't play, oh catch up, watch your life as capes. One game, homie, that you shouldn't play. There's real soldiers in the streets gunning every day. This shit is normal in the vital part of every day. It ain't great, but I'm loyal, so I'll never change. I keep repeating, but I mean it, never lose your way. Heed the warning and the missing just for talking brave. Fuck my enemies, two faces and all the snakes. Now for this matter, just name the time and name the place. We'll get it active, fuck the gap, and I'm in face to face. Real gangsters never fold, then we never shake. I was brought up to...
You are now watching M.O.D. Entertainment.
Alright, now starting off, we shall be starting off with the oldest one. And to find the oldest one out of all these happy neighborhoods, we actually have to be maneuvering our way to the area that is known as East Side of Los Angeles. The East Side of Los Angeles, so not East LA, but the East Side of Los Angeles is the birthplace and home to one of these old barrios. See, when people think about old neighborhoods, they automatically think of neighborhoods like White Fins, Hazard, Primera, Maravillas, barrios like that. You know what I mean? And yes, those neighborhoods are old. But another old barrio, that dates back already, a long time, is the barrio HVR or HVG or HV. It's all the same gang. They just have multiple way of writing it. Just like any other neighborhood has multiple ways of writing their neighborhood, this is no different. I know people get sometimes confused, like, hey, is it the same as that neighborhood or that neighborhood? It's the same barrio, they just have different ways of writing it. But it stands for Happy Valley Rifa or Happy Valley Gang or just Happy Valley. Happy Valley Rifa is already a barrio that has been well-rooted in the east side of Los Angeles, located within the area that is known as Happy Valley. That is how they got their name, because this part of Los Angeles is known as Happy Valley. That is what the city, named it and branded it and stuff like that. So for those who are not aware and wonder, well, where exactly is Happy Valley at? Because I never heard of the area. It is located within the area of Lincoln Heights. So, close to Lincoln Heights and Rose Hills. So it's like in between both of those areas, up in the hills. You know what I mean? So in between Rose Hills and Lincoln Heights is where you're able to find, the patch of Happy Valley. As a matter of fact, just take the 710 all the way down to where it ends and bam, congratulations. And in this area is the birthplace of the Happy Valley Rifa barrio that has been established right here in this area since the 1930s. So since the 1930s, this barrio has been well established within this area. At one point, it was a large neighborhood, the original Cobras. That is their clicas. People see Cobras, like, hey, is that the same as King Cobras? Like, no, these Cobras are different. This is their clica Cobras. That's what they were known for. They were the original Cobras, So when people want to say who stole whose name, well, these guys were around, first, so they're the original Cobras. And their territory was pretty massive, throughout the whole entire Happy Valley area. To get a better understanding of where the area is at, is on the back streets of what's considered Abraham Lincoln High School. So throughout those back ends, throughout Lincoln Park Avenue, is where you were able to find the barrio Happy Valley. Their territory essentially was everything that was throughout Thomas Street, And from Thomas Street, their territory extended still all the way to Broadway. And from Broadway, their turf stretched all the way to where Paradise Drive is at. And Paradise Drive, the territory extended all the way to Mercury Avenue. So everything that's in the middle of that area is what's considered the Barrio Happy Valley's territory. Like I said, massive amount of territory. And at one point, they were a large gang, like I said. But due to, different gangs sprouting out and gentrification, because this barrio has been hit with gentrification, makes recruitment a lot more difficult. But, nonetheless, they're still there. They're still active. They still maintain. But they're just not as large as they once were in their golden days. But then we could say that for a lot of neighborhoods. You know what I mean? But like I said, this was a real barrio that handled their business, and that is the reason why it's known as Happy Valley, because that is the name of the area. So that's how they get their name. And their main domain, their dojo, the heart of their hood, is on Evatier Street. The 28 block of Evatier is where you were able to find their domain, their dojo, the Lion's Den, and everything that was essentially throughout Sierra Highway as well, Sierra Street. Emma, Alta, all of that was considered their neighborhood. And, feuding with, the other neighborhoods around the area, because it does get chaotic, because you do have a lot of different gangs within this area. You have 18, you have Rose Hills, you have Lincoln, you have East Lake, you have so many different barrios within this area. Now when people come and see this area, one of the things I hear them say is that, oh, but it looks nice, like it looks peaceful. Like I said, you can't judge a book by its cover. But not only that, but the area hasn't always looked like this. So due to gentrification, just because it looks nice now, doesn't mean that it was always like this. Because this area before, in the 1930s, was the slums, the ghettos, bro. Like, there was not even no roads, bro. There was no sidewalks. Some broken ass down houses, bro. Like this was the gutter, homie. There wasn't really much here. Everything wasn't established like how it is now. Now everything's established, and you have, but back then, homie, this area was like, there was nothing here, it was the poverty, because the raza could only, back in those days, you were only able to live in certain areas, you know what I mean? It wasn't like now where you're just able to, go and get property anywhere. We're talking about, these were different times than now. People always forget that part. So you were just isolated to certain areas. So you could understand, the racism, the raza really being, mistreated, pressed against. So you see why these individuals grow up to have, these animosities, and shit just spirals out of control. But the Happy Valley Barrio is still a barrio that maintains right here and still holds it down since the 1930s. Now, to find the next barrio, the next happy neighborhood on the list, we actually have to be maneuvering our way to the area that is known as the SGV. You already know the SGV is a notorious area that's full of all kinds of different barrios. But to be more exact, we shall be heading towards the area of Hacienda Heights. Hacienda Heights is home to one of these, happy neighborhoods, which is known as the Barrio HHP, or HH, which stands for Barrio Happy Homes Puente, or Happy Homes, Barrio Happy Homes. Barrio Happy Homes is a neighborhood that has been well established right here in Hacienda Heights since the 1960s. Those are facts. I was hearing people try to say that, the last time I did this neighborhood, they're like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. They were around since the 80s, 90s, he doesn't know shit. Bro, there's records that show their members getting arrested since the 1960s, bro. So if the neighborhood didn't exist till then how is there records of members from that gang getting arrested since the 1960s, bro? Know your history. Like I said, I only come and spit the facts. Info comes straight out of their mouths. You know what I mean? So don't tell me, hey, you don't know your info when it's coming straight out of their mouths. I'm pretty sure they know their neighborhood more than you do. You know what I mean? Fun fact. But yes, the Barrio Happy Homes Puente has been well established here since the 1960s. Puente in itself is a large gang, with thousands of members and a bunch of clicas that are sub gangs, right? And no different with the Happy Home Puente. They're a part of the Puente card, but they reside in the city of Hacienda Heights and they're their own neighborhood, but still a part of the Puente umbrella. Like I said, it gets complex. Because while the other neighborhoods are established in Puente, these guys are in Hacienda Heights, um, and they're not as large as like some of the other barrios within the area, like Barrio 13, whatever, who's also right here and who they feud with in Hacienda Heights. But nonetheless, they still have manpower and everything like that because this neighborhood is a few hundred members to them. So they do have a presence, like I said, and they also, part of the Puente card. So you already know what you know. And essentially, their territory is everything that's from Gale Avenue, from that all the way to Fieldgate Avenue, from Fieldgate Avenue all the way to Benny Street. Benny Street, their territory still extends all the way to Palm Avenue. Palm Avenue to where the freeway's at. From the freeway, their territory still extends all the way to 6th, and from 6th to Clark Avenue and back around. And everything that's in the middle is considered a barrio. So throughout 6th, throughout 7th, throughout Gale, throughout 9th, and still, all the way back down, bro. It's a massive amount of territory, but it's theirs, and the only thing that separates them and the Barrio 13 is literally just of the 60 freeway, and that's it. One side is Happy Home, one side is Barrio 13. And now people are like, how did they get their name, the Happy Home Gang? Happy Home got its name due to the neighborhood right there, where the apartment home complexes were set up. That was the name of it. It was called Happy Homes. So that is where they get their name from. They got their name from that. For those who were wondering. And like I said, they're still a well neighborhood that's well established right here and still continue to represent for theirs in the Happy Home. Now, to find the next of these happy neighborhoods, we actually have to be maneuvering our way to the area that is known as Pomona. You already know, still here in the SGV, but now to the area of Pomona, Pimp City itself, bro. You already know Pomona is definitely home to the pimping, the gangbanging, and all that. Now, and yes, here is home to one of these other happy neighborhoods, which is known as the Barrio HTP. HTP translating to the Barrio Happy Town Pomona. Happy Town Pomona is an old barrio that has already been well established here. One of Pomona's most known neighborhoods. People know about these guys, the Killer Clowns gang. Obviously, because of the Happy Town and all that, the clown is their mascot, right? So they use the clowns, the killer clowns, the clown faces, and all of that. It goes with the theme of their neighborhood, right? It's like they call it the wicked circus. You know what I mean? These killer clowns will lay you down, bro. It definitely goes down in this town. But sin freestyles, nah. And this is the neighborhood of the rapper Drummer Boy, the neighborhood he puts it down for. And now, the Happy Town Pomona is a large neighborhood with several hundred members to them. Like I said, they've been well established right here within Pomona for a long time, well-rooted. Their territory is everything that's from Ridgeway Street. Ridgeway Street, their territory still extends to where Campus Drive is at. From Campus Drive, the territory still extends all the way to Red Cross Street, and then from that, the territory extends all the way to Valley Boulevard and back around. So everything that's throughout Valley Boulevard is where you're able to find their barrio, where they hold it down. It definitely goes down. So it's not like a large patch of territory like maybe some of these other Pomona neighborhoods have, but nonetheless, homie, they got it on lockdown. Now, people are wondering, how did this neighborhood get their name? So, from what I was told, is that Happy Town Pomona got its name due to the fact that they used to have, the fair. The fair would roll up to the park, to the Kellogg's Park. right? They would have a carnivore, and the fair and everything like that. So that is how it got its name. It was known for the fairs and everything like that. So it was happy happy times. You know what I mean? Where the clown mascot came from and all of that. But because they would kick it at the park post up and everything like that. They grabbed that name and ran with it. Because while people consider it happy times, their form of happy times were gang banging and causing mayhem and carnage. You know what I'm saying? That was their form of how they maintain happy. So that's how they got their name. Happy Town Pomona, at least from what I was told. Uh, and like I said, homie, people could say what they want about some of these names, because I heard some insults that people be like, "Oh, who names their barrio after Happy? That's dumb. That's lame. Whatever." Like I said, bro, these are well-established neighborhoods with notorious members, bro. All of these barrios, whether Happy Home, Happy Valley, Happy Town Pomona, bro, they got real writers, homie. You can say whatever you want about the name. Doesn't matter. That doesn't mean shit. You underestimate something, my boy, you're going to pay the piper. Never judge a book by its cover, dog. Just because something sounds a certain way, don't mean that it is a certain way. Like I said, sometimes it's not always about being, wicked, diablos, and trying to sound all crazy. You know what I mean? We're trying too hard. Like I said, these individuals are just themselves, bro. They could care less what people say. You got to put some respect on that, because when you lack the respect is when you get hit. Real talk. But nah, that's what's up with the Happy Town Pomona right here representing for theirs.